Wow. And that's how we start. Wow. Well, first of all, let's make sure we're up and rolling here. This is. Didn't think I would do an episode this week, but this is episode 2. Episode 2 of. Geez, already distracted. This is episode 2 of On Tap. And On Tap, what we do on Tap is we go over news, sports news, basketball, football, hockey. There's touching sports stories that I didn't get to cover on Tap throughout the week. Is we go over, and that's what we're doing right now. A little flustered. And first of all, if you're new here, please do take the time to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It means a lot to me. Lets me know you care. And happy Friday. So where do we begin? Man, as a Yankee fan, I guess that's where we'll begin. As I was watching the game here, thought to myself, at the very beginning early in the game, it looked like Cole was going to have a hard time being that, and he was on a 3-day rest. Was having and you thought that first inning would be more disastrous than what it was. But he worked around it, got himself through it, and on we went. So Cole was able to give us 5 in the third inning. Now, would I have liked him, of course, to go 8, 9 innings? I don't think that it's not this. It's not your grandfather's baseball anymore. That has that's changed. That has definitely changed. I think you would have been more than likely to see it. If it wasn't 3 days rest. The umpire in this game was consistent. Now, he was consistent to both teams. So you can't really fault the umpire, the umpiring. It was consistent. In the game, you had Ford up there. Would you have maybe put in Sanchez? Now, you might be saying, well, listen, what has Sanchez done? He has a horrible batting average. Hasn't been starting at catcher this series at all. But this type of a guy in Sanchez is a guy that he's liable just to hit it out of the park at any said moment. just ready to unload on any said moment. So you could have put him in as opposed to Ford. Can you get over management for not doing it, not putting him in? I could also see the case as to why he was not put in. Okay. When you look at game 2, the Yankees were trying to do some trickery. They took a chance, and it backfired on them. Now, Aaron Boone, is out there in the forefront, out there in the media, and he's taking his lumps. He said, "No, listen, it's a combination of people that are together and make this decision, and I was included on that decision, and I thought it would be a great idea to make that decision, or I had agreed to that decision." I don't think this was any of Aaron Boone's call in game 2. It had nothing to do with Aaron Boone for game 2 and what they pulled. I think this was all management, and whether Aaron Boone liked it or not, he was overridden, I'm sure, and overridden. And listen, that's it. You're overridden. This is what we're going to do, and you have to go forward with it. And I think that's what might have happened in that. So I can't even blame him for that. So, and listen, Tanaka, big game pitcher, didn't have his stuff. Can I blame Tanaka? I mean, I could, but the point being is we got to this game. Okay, we got to this elimination game, winner takes all. So when we get to that game, it's as if everything is at a clean slate again, back to zero. So now, where we are, what happened? What happened is I listen, okay? They didn't need a star. They needed more depth in the pen. That's what it came down to. And it showed in this series. Ottavino signing looks like it's a horrific signing. Or at the very least, Ottavino had a horrible year this year. Canely injury. Disaster. Totally messed up this team. You had dependence on 3 guys in the pen. That's not going to win you a title in this era. Tampa with a fifth of Yankee payroll somehow ends up with a better, with better depth than they do. Listen, and I get it for all the trades Cashman has made. Listen, avoid Urshela, Hicks, Frazier. There's also been some blunders in there. And you could say, going back to Pavano, Wright, Giambi, Ellsbury. This team, I think, is a one-dimensional team. It's either they make zero contact or they hit 900-foot homers. That's all this team, Which means, honestly, that you're going to have to bring back LeMahieu at all costs. The team has too many righties, and now it has holes in its rotation. Listen, all that being said, for everyone that's still gonna knock Boone, how many hits did the Yankees get this game? Remember how explosive they were against the Indians. How many hits did the Yankees get today? That's on Boone? It's not on Boone. This has nothing to do with Boone at all. Listen. Now, who would you have gotten at the trade deadline as a reliever? It's a big question. Because according to Cashman, the actual person involved in these conversations, the asking price was in the range of a Garcia and or Frazier for who? Miguel Castro, Lance Lynn, Robbie Ray. The biggest pieces that the Yankees didn't get back this year were Severino, Paxton, and Canely. I think Cashman knows what he's doing and consistently builds contenders. But, the on-the-field performance hasn't gotten the job done, and that's the bottom line. Very, very sad day if you're a Yankee fan. And here we go again. Who are you going to root for now? Tampa? Houston? Ugh, God. I just want to drink. Pour you a drink. Cheers to Friday. It'll be interesting to see. Now remember, it's going to be interesting offseason. Tell you that much. San Diego Padres have, they've lost. They have lost to the LA Dodgers, and just to give you my 2 cents there. They ran into a very Very good team. The Padres. It's a shame that they ran into some bad luck at the end of this season, which is probably going to be considered amazing for the Padres, right? The energy this team brought, I'm sure, was exciting to watch day in and day out. Also, to set records during such a shortened season that haven't been done in baseball history, such as the Grand Slam streak and the two home runs by two different players in the postseason being done one on the other time before 88 years ago speaks of how good the Padres could be. If the Padres just were to build some depth in the pitching staff, there's no telling how far that team could go. Padre fan, got some playoff experience. Chalk this up. You point your eyes ready for the next season. Imagine how much more exciting the Padres will be when you have a sold-out stadium and every day, and you could go into the park and support your team. So, just wanted to bring up the Padres there as well. And we're going to take a little bit of a break here. We're going to talk about Theo Epstein. Sticking on a bit of baseball. We're going to discuss what Theo Epstein said about one-year contracts, and I will give you my thoughts on that. And taking our little pause here, I'm going to leave you a retro clip, something to do with baseball, as I've been doing these videos for quite some time. And, again, I invite you to like the channel. Let me play you an old clip here. Let's see. Yeah. Streaming. And let's see here. I'll pick up a nice video for you guys. So who do you guys have winning? Actually, I think what will be fitting is to play a video in regards to Whitey Ford. I think that'll be fitting.
Just, from studying Yankee baseball, I just remember.
Be back in 4 minutes, guys.
What is going on, New York Yankee fans? Today, at the age of 91, Whitey Ford has passed away. Great Yankee legend. 236 wins, Hall of Famer. The lefty who will forever be remembered as chairman of the board, right? Who seemingly always came up big when it counted and finished his career with the highest winning percentage of any Yankee pitcher. Truly one of the greatest in the lineage of Yankee greats, which there are so many of. I think you could call him the most successful pitcher in World Series history. Almost unbeatable. Don't know what he had, but he had it in spades. Just from studying Yankee baseball, I just remember him leading the Yankees, to series after series in '50s and the early '60s. Um, being of younger age, you try to brush up yourself on guys like this. Yogi Berra, Whitey Ford. So you brush up. You listen to cassettes of Mel Allen, a great Yankee broadcaster, you know, calling his games. Bob Gibson too passed away very earlier. We did see him earlier in this week. So, it's been a rough week as far as great pitchers. Um, he grew up here locally in Astoria, Queens. Has numerous has a baseball field named after him. But you know, one of the greatest left-hander pitchers in the game. And I think he's one of the last of that lineage to kind of connect you to um, the Yankee greats. Mantle and guys like this. It's 91 years of age. I think it should be only fitting that number 16 is remembered by the Yankees this day and closing out the Tampa Bay Rays. Hope all is well. Hope all is right and well, and I look forward to speaking to you guys very, very soon.
So let's start about.
See, that's what you guys are missing by not being subscribed to From the Bleachers Sports Show. Please do subscribe. It's a fun time, and a fun time. And we do a lot of sports, a lot of content on this channel, a little bit of everything for everyone. Do want to jump into the UFC real quick here. I did see something on the UFC's page. In regards to UFC 254. Anakalov versus Kulaba back in UFC 254. Just some of my thoughts, Dan. Looking back on the match, just rewinded, went back to UFC 254. And honestly, he did look hurt, even if he was playing possum. I understand the ref was looking out for his well-being. People do need to understand in the moment the ref did have a big decision to make, right? Either if he was hurt, either if he wasn't or was hurt, he shouldn't have acted in the way in that way, since obviously there have been fights, that have been stopped, as fighters were really hurt and didn't go down. Example, Ronda Rousey. Listen, if he was acting, he shouldn't have been playing around like that. Take the fight seriously, and it's a lesson learned, and stop playing possum. Yeah, listen, you might be saying, hey, listen, even if he wasn't faking, people have recovered from much worse and came out victorious. He was still throwing hands. It's a fight. Let him actually get knocked out, or at least wait until he's no longer defending himself. You might say it wasn't a tough call. It was a horrible one that they made. Listen. And I wonder personally if all the fighters are taking too much damage nowadays, right? It seems they have not seen any reports of UFC fighters having concussion problems, and dealing with the long-term effects. It would be interesting to see more research done on long-term injuries to the brain, right? They should follow some fighters and make a documentary about it, honestly. I'm sure they do deal with concussions, since after a fight, a fighter would go through suspension for at least 1 month with no gym time right after a fight. Most of them go for, about 4 to 6 months recovery time. So that might be part of it as well. But and listen, not even sure. Just going back to UFC 254, that clip there. Not even sure why UFC would want to share that on their social media page. It is one of those embarrassing things you want people to forget happened. No one that bought that pay-per-view, I'm sure, felt like they got their money's worth out of that fight. Sure that I'm pretty sure that they're angry or irritated at the very least. So I don't know. Just my thoughts there on 254. Sticking on to baseball here. I want to read you this this article here. Boom, boom, boom. Theo Epstein, quote, has been prepping the Chicago fan base for the eventual breakup of their 2016 team for a couple of seasons now. The blockbuster hasn't come, and most of the faces of that championship team remain. After a disappointing exit from the wild card round, they managed just one run over a 2-game sweep at the hands of the Marlins. Epstein has made some comments, since the Chicago Cubs elimination, even before then, that the changes are coming for the Cubbies. 9 players remain on the roster from their World Series winner. You still have your guys like Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, Javier Baez, Wilson Contreras, Alberto Mora, John Lester, and the list goes on, and Kyle Schwarber. They represent the largest tenure of, Cub players. Then you have David Ross there as your manager. So you could even count him of those teams there as well that Chicago had. Look, this is what he said. I think there are going to be certain fundamentals that are true of this winter and of this market that have been true for decades. One of those is especially relevant in our situation. A one-year deal for really talented player is a valuable thing. He goes on to say, that's to our benefit, both to what we could do in constructing the 2021 team and having an additional year of control over certain players. So listen, on this, blowing this team up, which seems that Epstein does want to do, the great thing for the Cubs is the demise of every other NL Central team. The Cards can continue with no new starters surfacing to replace old retiring players. So, Reds have had terrible leadership and are set to lose Bauer. So clubs might as well keep core together and give it one more shot. Don't forget, Milwaukee seems to have hit its peak and is now in the same place as the Cubs were. Yet how can I put it? Yet a more probably yet a more worst version. So, the Cubs might as well keep the core together and give it one more shot. Let Bryant get over himself and help Darvish. And you hope that Darvish returns to ace status, which he has been before. They'll be head and shoulders maybe favored to win the division next season. I think that division is wide open. The Brewers are going to retool. They are getting Brian off the books, and Hurrah Brewers, the Brewers are going to retool. Getting Brian off the books, like I said, Hurrah should hopefully take a step forward. Look, the Brewers also still have, a guy like Hader, Woodruff, Yelich, these type of guys. The Brewers will always have a smaller payroll and have to draft well to compete. But they seem to do so, and they have a little bit of money this offseason to retool. But I think the Cardinals are in a tougher spot as they still owe decent chunks of money to guys like Fowler, Carpenter, Andrew Miller, who have all underperformed. Fact of the matter is they have underperformed. They still have top-end all-star talent in Flattery, Goldsmith, Wong, DeJong, and hopefully Carlson, as well as, you think, a ton of pitching that was on display this year. So, it's just pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. So I don't know, will you be seeing a retooling of the Cubs? I don't know. I hope not. Not the Cubs. We're going to take a small, quick commercial here, guys. And let's see what we're going to be watching here. Let's see what
So
we'll do.
massive break.
Not there. Let's see. Let's take you back here, guys. Let's see. Do a little vintage.
Did I say
Vintage. And we're going to go with vintage video is an old school video. And we're going to go back. Actually, no. I did a video earlier this week. I talked about the play where... actually, no. Let's talk about David Cone. Save that thought for a video, that thought from another time. Let's talk about David Cone. Be back in 5.
What's going on, Yankee fans, baseball fans? Welcome. I was thinking, as the season has wrapped up here for Major League Baseball, there is a couple of what has been a crazy 60 games, absolutely crazy 60-game season. I think back to the Yankees, going into the postseason, heavy favorites. But in 2009, David Cone's name appeared on a Major League Baseball ballot for what would be the first and only time Cone would garner support of only 3.9% of Hall of Fame voters, resulting in his name being dropped off the ballot. When looking back on it, Cone deserved more consideration. And, it's very debatable. Let me put it to you this way. You can make the debate more stronger, not saying he necessarily would have gotten in anyway, but you could have made the debate a little bit stronger as to why he should have made the Hall of Fame. Rather, just by garnering 3.9%, never got that chance. Over a 17-year career, 194 wins, 126 losses, 3.46 ERA. Do the numbers jump off the page? No. Fewer than 200 wins might hurt this case. However, advanced metrics have been kinder, right, if you're into them. Baseball Reference calculated that Cone was worth 62.3 wins above replacement, which puts him in a tie for about 161st all time. Outside of Cone's career stats, he also had some impressive individual games in seasons. In 1988, he accumulated a 23 record with a 2.2 ERA. In 90 and 91, he led the National League in strikeouts as a member of the Mets. As a member of the 94 Royals, he won the American League Cy Young and was as a member of the Yankees, he pitched the 16th perfect game in baseball history. Dominant force in October, 21 postseason games. 21 postseason games in October, he would compile an 83 record, pitched at 3.80 ERA. In the World Series, his ERA would drop to a minuscule 2.112. For his October heroics, he would win the 1992 World Series with Toronto and again with the Yankees in 96, 98, 99, and 2000. In 2009, only Ricky Henderson and Jim Rice would secure 75% of the vote that was needed to earn the Hall of Fame eligibility. While two players made it in 2009, a handful of other baseball players would eventually join in Cooperstown. Tim Raines, Burt Blyleven, and Andre Dawson. They would eventually gather enough votes, while Lee Smith, Jack Morris, Trammell, and Harold Baines would earn enshrinement through one of the Hall of Fame committees. Now listen, it's difficult to compare different generations and positions, but Cohn had a higher B Ward than Rice, Morris, Baines, and Trammell, and his 62.3 B WAR is actually only 5.3 points lower than the combined B WAR of Baines and Trammell combined. Listen, what I'm saying is when I'm looking back, David Cohn was a dominant pitcher who deserved serious consideration for Hall of Fame. While you could argue that he was perhaps not quite a Hall of Famer, he should have been on the ballot for at least much longer than 1 year. That's what I'm saying. At his best, Cohn was one of the legitimate aces during an era that significantly favored the batters. If Cohn lasted 10 years before falling off the ballot, I would understand the argument, but it baffles me that he received only 21 votes, in 2009 was one fewer vote than Mark Race, who was nowhere statistically talented near the level that Cohn was. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Cohn should have had a more serious run or more serious consideration than what he did. I hope all is well, and I look forward to speaking to you guys very, very soon.
That was Whitey Ford, chairman of the board. News broke that he did pass away. Did make a video on that. Do check that out. You also have seen my video about David Cohn just now. Just subscribe to his channel. It's a good time. When you look at how about the LA Lakers still alive? Still alive. The LA Lakers are still alive. But the Miami Heat are just been playing like a team possessed, and they still managed to be in this series. You know, the Heat, they showed a lot of heart. You know, they showed that they could have easily they could have just listened. They could have just easily rolled and just quit knowing they had to win 3 games in a row. But they showed a lot of pride, saying that you may have the better team and the advantages, but you're going to have to earn this championship. They're not rolling over. There's going to be adjustments made, and I believe the Lakers will come out more aggressive. LeBron James, going to come out and impose his will. Yeah, you could see that happening. They're going to have to match the intensity and always have an answer to the runs that the Lakers make if they want to force a Game 7. Whatever happened to the good old mid-range jump shot? Jimmy Buckets is proving why he is, I think, one of the best players in the league. Without their leading scorer, he willed his team to a Game 6. You gotta put some respect on that man's name. That's pretty damn impressive. You know, and the bench, I think, cost the Lakers this game. You know, 5 for 22, 1 for 11 on threes. You had Green and KCP. They weren't much better. LeBron better rest up. He's going to have to score 50 plus in Game 6, I think, to win. Realistically, the Heat are not backing down. They're giving you a fight. Before we wrap it up here, I just want to touch briefly on Week 5 of the NFL. You know, some games that I've been looking at that I think would be nice to preview as we're going into Week 5. All right, let's go in there. Let's look at the schedule here. Yeah, fun this episode. A little bit of everything here. We covered a little bit of everything. I do have a separate live stream or vidcast podcast about wrestling called Clean Pin. You know, that comes out every week as well. Panthers, Falcons. You know, when you look at the Panthers and the Falcons, that's one game there too. And I think that this is going to be a game that I think Atlanta might actually win their first game here. They have a very good chance to win their first game. They're currently 0-4. Bridgewater starting there for Carolina. You know, but I do like that game. I think it's going to be a game where I think that there's finally you know, where Atlanta could just shake the cobwebs and shake the stench of just constantly losing here. You know, you did hear kind of a few scary stories here about the coronavirus in the NFL and with Tennessee Titans, man, and you gotta take this thing seriously. You really do. You hear about the Vegas team going out to a charity function without any masks on. It's like, wow, you know. Panthers, Falcons, with Teddy Bridgewater, he's showing promises as a long-term replacement for Cam Newton, and Mike Davis flourishing as a short-term substitute for Christian McCaffrey. Could be bad news. Could be bad news for the for the Panthers. Could be very well bad news. When you look the passing, Bridgewater on the season, 103 for 141, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Matt Ryan, 108 for 167, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. McCaffrey, 41 carries, 156 yards. Gurley, 165 carries, 254 yards so far. 4 TDs and 4-piece tied. Ronnie Anderson from Carolina, 28 for 377, 1 touchdown. Calvin Ridley, he has 21 receptions, 349 yards, 4 touchdowns as well. So, nothing too crazy as far as the injuries go. I think again, this is a game that the Falcons should win. Game that they should win. Probably pick you Falcons for game 1. What are we looking at here for? We're gonna do with know that area. Know that area. Going to be very interesting. Week 5 as well. You then have looking over at look at Washington with the Washington football team. Haskins on the bench this week, and I don't think this will be permanent. I think this is just for the short time. Let him learn a few pointers. Let him learn a few pointers before being thrown into the fire. Because I think, just like Sam Darnold, he has he has regressed and he has taken a step back, and I do think that Washington does lose with the great Kyle Allen at quarterback for Washington Redskins. Let's see. Do. Some of this here. Let's see. We're trying to go into a preview. Let's see here. Rely on technology. It doesn't work for you. Hold on 1 second, guys. Talking about the game with Tom Brady and Nick Foles that just passed. Yeah, listen, like I said before, this is the move that the Chicago brass wanted. I think they soured on Trubisky, so we have Nick Foles here. And Nick Foles, what you found with Nick Foles is that he will have a standout couple of games, 3 or 4 games, get injured, and then regress. And then takes a couple of weeks for him to get back, plays 3 games in remaining of the season, and that's all you see of Nick Foles. So he's constantly hurt. I think he's good for a few games, and then he regresses. Listen, we know, and congratulations to him for beating Tom Brady and Tampa Bay Bucks. We know Super Tom is Super Tom. And apparently, they conveniently did the Bucks. At least Tom Brady left the field and didn't congratulate Tom, which was a big problem apparently. And now it's smoothed over, but there you go. Tom Brady and Nick Foles, no love lost there. Nick Foles just does it again. Whenever, listen, Brady, his kryptonite is Nick Foles. That's it, guys. And, that was, I think, a pretty good game in Bucks Bears, opening up for week 5. That's it for this week, guys. It's on tap. I hope all is well. And, this will be an episode that's not going to be necessarily weekly. Could be. Depends on what news is going on in sports. But I thank you so much for your time. Please do subscribe.